Just waiting for everyone to get the notifications to come in. Got an interview today with my man James.
Hello, hello.
What's good, big dog?
What's going on? Let me put you back on my headphones here. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How about yourself today? Just waiting for James to connect back again. He just wanted to use his headset. Thank everyone for tuning in, man.
All right, I must have messed something up. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I hear you good. I think it works better through my phone than my AirPods. So I'll take them out. Hold on a second. All right, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good, man.
All right, I got you too. I appreciate the opportunity, man. I was tossing and turning last night. I couldn't even sleep, brother. I'm about to be on Bully Talk.
Stop playing, stop playing.
I was like, man, I was excited, man. I definitely just want to say thank you. I'm grateful for you reaching out to me to give me this opportunity to be on your platform, man. It means a lot to me. It really does.
Man, first of all, I truly appreciate you accepting the invitation to come on Bully Talk with Zed Pitts. I normally don't do no lives, man, but I got to get used to it. That's the new wave right now. That's the future.
It,
Everybody want to see interact while the interview's going on. So I still got to get used to that, man. You know, I'm an
hey,
old head.
right. Likewise, me too. I barely go live. I mean, I go live every now and again if I've got like a special announcement. Like, I think probably the last time I did a live was during the pandemic when I had to postpone the Wow Factor. I went live and let everybody know that I had to postpone. But yeah, but like you said, it's the new trend, it's the new wave, and there's some guys that are really good at it. So part of growth and making yourself better is getting out of your comfort zone and doing things that you don't customarily do, and getting great at it. I was sitting there last night thinking, like, do I go shirt off like a Daquan Jackson, or I said I ain't got no neck tattoos or nothing, so I was like, I'm gonna chill for a minute. But I keep on my diet plan. I might be shirt off our next interview.
Well, that's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. All right, I gotta get a proper introduction, man. What's good, Bully World? This is your host, Bully Talk with Zed Pitts, and today my special guest, Mr. Wow Factor James Cosby, man. What's good, big dog?
What's up? What's up? Like I said, for those who just tuned in, it's an absolute honor to be here on this platform today with Zeb. I've known Zeb a long time. We go way back. We both OGs in this game, and to be here today and on this platform and to share with you guys is a huge honor and a great opportunity, and I'm extremely thankful, man. Thanks again, Zeb.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you coming on. Let's take it back for the people, man. When did you get started dealing with the American Bully breed?
Man, okay. Uh, I go back as far as 2006. So that's how far back I go with the American Bully breed. 2006, my first American Bully I bought from 386 Kennels, a guy by the name of Heath Lambert. He put me on with my first American Bully. It was a blue female we named her Jada Boo. That's what we named her. And actually, prior to doing that, I was breeding pit bulls, and we were doing weight pulling with my guy Andre Pogue, who now has the Ohio Bully Showcase. So we had a dog club actually back then in 2005 where we were weight pulling pit bulls, just trying to find a positive outlet for the game pits that we had. So we were doing that, and my wife, really, Tiffany, is a huge inspiration as far as what you see today. She is definitely the foundation, because when I met her, she had pit bulls. Little people who don't know me very well, I was afraid of dogs prior to meeting my wife. So
Really?
yeah, I was afraid of dogs, but you know, I had to be a G. I seen this woman. I'm like, okay. And when I started dating, when I started dating my wife, you know, she had two pits, and they was only like 6 months old. But to me, being fearful of dogs, they might as well have been XLs. So you know, I tried to play it cool, like, hey girl, you know, I want to slide through, but you know, put your dogs up. You know, I just don't, you know, I just don't want to hurt them or nothing, just in case they get out of hand. You know, I tried to play tough, but so that's how I started, man. So she got me into dogs. She had dogs, and we got together, and she was like, you know, we should. She ended up selling the two dogs she had, and we started dating. And she was like, we should get some dogs. And I was like, oh. So we ended up going to the man. We was in the mix. We was in the hood. And again, you know, I had to be a G. She was like, go knock on the door. She had me going out looking for some dogs, right? And this dude was a straight game bred pit bull breeder. Man, he had pits everywhere. So think of him, but think, man, I'm totally afraid of dogs, right? So then I'm immediately immersed in my biggest fear. This dude had dogs off the chain everywhere. And I was just like, man, but I overcame my fear, and it turned into a passion that I truly, truly love, you know. And we ended up buying two pit bulls on the spot. And like I said, we had those, and then we went into the American Bully when Tiff actually found Heath Lambert and got us into the American Bully. And like I said, we were weight pulling prior to that. And then Heath Lambert turned us into the dog shows. And then we started going to confirmation shows, and I linked up with a brother named Jay Machiavelli or Jesse Splunge, Machiavelli Pitts. And he took me under his wings, man, and I was just off to the races after that. He taught me the game. He taught me how to breed. He taught me about hosting dog shows, and we were in a dog club together called Bullies United. And even prior to that, linked up with a brother who was going to school out here, Ife, if y'all know him, Okie Doke Kennels. So me and Ife, yeah, me and Ife became really good friends. And Okie Doke, man, this guy back then in 2006, 2007, he knew every dog's pedigree, memorized forward and backwards. So he would put me up on a lot of game and let me know what was hot, what wasn't hot. And I have quite a few Ife's dogs to this day. So that's kind of how I got my start, man.
You know, talking about that with the American Bullies, when did you start first seeing the exotics, and what made you go over to that side?
Well, I always was a fan of the extreme dogs. So I would say probably that transition happened around because I was hosting ABKC shows prior to that. I started hosting my first ABKC show. I was hosting with well, I was in a group with Jay and working with him and hosting his show that he would have in Columbus. And then I branched out on my own and started hosting my first show by myself in 2012. I started seeing that exotic movement probably around towards the end of 2014 when the ABKC stopped allowing like the extreme bullies. And I was always a fan of like the overdone or the extreme type of American bully, pocket to micro extreme. And so at that, you know, the writing was on the wall, and then there was this new group coming out, American Bully Registry, and I seen it at that point. You know, it was time to cross over. You know, I seen where the wave was going. I seen where the movement was going with the exotic, and I jumped on in the beginning, and I was probably the first show for the ABR, if not the first, one of the first, definitely probably within the first two or three shows. I was the first person to host the ABR show, and I believe I was given an award last year. I'm the longest running show host for the ABR. So they've been great. They've been a great family for me. They've been extremely welcoming, and I can't say enough great things about the American Bully Registry and the opportunities that they've given me, my family, and the Midwest bully community. It's just been an outstanding business relationship, partnership, and like I said, it's family. It's more than business at this point.
Now, with the ABR, was that with the Wow Factor show? Was it the first Wow Factor under the umbrella of the ABR?
Yes, if you remember when I was throwing ABKC shows, um, my the name of my ABKC show was Bringing Out the Bullies. So we thought that, you know, we had a great following and we had a great run with the ABKC, and we didn't leave on bad terms. We were just at that point in 2015 ready to go in a different direction. So at that point in 2015, when I partnered up with the ABR, you know, I talked with my wife about it, and I said, you know what, let's just do a whole rebrand. You know, let's leave bringing out the bullies with ABKC, and then we're going to start something totally different with this exotic movement and the ABR. And right then and there, I created a Facebook group page because personally, I was, you know, just going to so many different pages. You see a lot of just average dogs, regular dogs, mediocre dogs. So when I first started my Facebook group page, I wanted the premise behind it is I wanted to have a group page where you can scroll through and see everything was fire, see everything was great, see everything had those extreme qualities, see everything was a head turner. And that's when I came up with the phrase wow factor. So when you come to that page, everything's a wow factor. And in the beginning, if you even posted anything that was kind of, I would delete it. And I got some pushback from that. But yeah, like me and my administrators, if that dog wasn't on point, we were deleting those dogs' pictures. You know, I've gotten a little laxed over the years of my old age, but that's when the wow factor was first established, 2015, with my Facebook group page, and it was completely organic. I never did mass invites or mass, you know, signing people up or inviting people. I've never done that. So the 10,000 people you see on the Wow Factor group page are 10,000 people that wanted to be there, because I've never done any type of mass invitations. So from there, I built my brand on the Wow Factor. I said, well, this is how I'm going to brand everything. Everything will be Wow Factor. So we did Wow Factor Facebook group page, and then came the Wow Factor Dog Show. See the shirt? And that was in 2015, and now here we are,
Now,
2021.
James, you know we're a copycat community, man. How did you keep people from using the wow factor? Because I haven't seen anybody try to do that and name a show that. So did you LLC it, copyright it, or it's just the respect like that?
You know what? A lot of it has been the respect. I must say that I get a lot of love from the bully community, and I get a lot of respect from the bully community. And just to piggyback on that, at my show, even when I was with ABKC since 2012, in any show that I've hosted or event that I've hosted, I've never, ever had any incidents, ever. Not a fight, not a push, not a shove, nothing. So the bully community, when they come out, they really show me a lot of respect. And I think part of that too is just the atmosphere that I create, you know, for my show, the energy that we create for the show. I let people, you know, when people come into the show, I typically I'll open up the show and I announce, I say, hey, let's treat each other with respect. Let's have a great time. If someone accidentally bumps into you, say, excuse me, I apologize, my bad, you know. So I set that stage in the beginning so people know. And then also part of my brand, the wow factor, we turn up, we have fun, you know, we do have guys that are yelling, scream at the stack off, maybe use some profanity. But at the end of the day, I want everyone to treat each other like family. And I say, this is the wow factor. It's more than a bully show. It's more than a dog show. This is a family reunion. And then my catchphrase is, this is the wow factor, you know. So, and it's caught on, and you know, I said enough, and I drilled it into people, and it's a great feeling when people believe in your vision just as much as I do. So that's a great feeling. But also, to answer your question, yes, the wow factor is LLC. and I got a trademark. So don't anybody try. Yeah, it's trademark LLC.
June going through it right now. We was laughing about it. He's like, oh man, that somebody got to run with the jungle overseas name, and now as soon as he posted them trophies, now it's getting used. We said, don't show it, don't show it.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah, a lot.
How do you keep that?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm LLC. I try to keep everything, you know, I come from a corporate America background, so I try to keep everything very professional. I try to keep things as corporate as possible. So with my background, you know, it's been a blessing that no one had tried to use my name, you know, but yeah, like I said, yeah, I am LLC at this point, and I do have the Wow Factor name for an event and dog show trademark.
Now, with the Wow Factor, you've always had it in your area, in the Ohio area. This time around, you're going to have it in December in Chicago. What was the deciding factor to move Wow Factor to Chicago?
Well, let me reverse a little bit. When I came out, when I first started with the ABR, I threw two shows that year. So I threw a Wow Factor Ohio, and then probably one of the most important shows, I have to say, the most important show that I've ever thrown in my career of throwing shows, I threw in Niagara Falls, outside of Buffalo, New York. Now, that show was important. Not that it was the biggest show or that it had the biggest turnout, but that show had the biggest influence on my career. And I say that because that Wow Factor show in Niagara Falls, the Buffalo show, that show is where I met Curtis Collins. And just by happenstance, Curtis got on the microphone. And I said, this dude's got some real talent. My wife even, she noticed it. She's like, James, he's got some real talent on that microphone. And just Curtis was just on the microphone that day at my Wow Factor Niagara Falls show, just talking, being him. And then I also met a lot of great dudes from the East Coast that day. I met Michael Richardson, who owns Mr. Rich.
Oh, my man, Michael Richards. Everybody
Yeah,
deserves to be rich. That's my man.
everybody deserves to be rich. So I met him. I met Sandy. I met Kevin. I met like all the New York crew, all the New Jersey guys I met when I did that Niagara Falls show. Michael Majan. So me going to New York had such a huge impact, and them dudes have been so loyal to me from that show forward. They follow me when I brought the show back to Ohio. They start coming to Ohio. So I have just as much like huge New York presence at my show as we do Ohio and other cities in the Midwest. But that show that day in 2016, at that point in Niagara Falls, that show birthed Buck's MC career. So that's when he started. I asked him after that, I said, hey, I'd like you to become an MC for my show going forward. I want you to MC my show. He's like, big bro, I never MC before. This is my Buck voice. Big bro, I never MC before. I said, man, you got a talent. I think together with both of us on the microphone, because prior to that, I MC'd my own show. But my show was just going to.
How hard was that, James, knowing that you got to do everything else behind the scenes and then also on top of that, be involved with the show?
I loved it, man. My wife probably hated it because I was so stressed and she would get the brunt of it. But personally, I loved it. But and it was stressful. And then the ABR recognized it. It's like, James, you do a great job emceeing your own show, but you just have too much that you're responsible for to just have all your energy emceeing for the whole day. So they were like, they asked, if maybe I would consider, getting an MC. And so, like I said, without even hesitation, I knew Buck was the guy for the job because to me, he resembled me on the microphone. To me, he was the most like me. And I really liked his style and I like what he does. And I said, man, I definitely want you to work with me. And he's been working with me. Buck has been emceeing my show ever since my second show with the ABR. So he's been riding with me for a long time. And like I said, I was the first person to introduce him to that. And he said, and he became an MC. Now you see he's traveling to shows all over the country now, MCing. But it all started at the Wow Factor.
Speaking on that, James, how important is it to keep a consistent team together for your shows? Like not having new people, but keeping that core that you are familiar with, knowing that they have the same vision as you going into the show and everything can run smooth based on the fact that you have that camaraderie of always working together.
Man, that is huge. I mean, it's a huge blessing because the thing is, and I think that's part of what makes the Wow Factor and makes it work, is because there's so much love in the building. Like my sister helps me, my niece helps me. When my dad was still alive, he would help me. It was truly like my whole family was involved. My wife helps me. Now I have my cousins that help me. And so by having those people, these key fundamental people that are in my life, these people love me. So that love translates to the show. They love me so much. You see that in the show because they want the show to be successful. They want me to be successful. So they're proud of me. I'm proud of them. We're working together, and And I think that's part of the energy you feel when you come to the Wow Factor. People's like, man, it's different, because I preach, let's have great customer service. Let's have great hospitality. And that's what the Cosby family is all about. We're all about hospitality, treating people the way we want to be treated, making people feel good, giving people a great experience. So that my core group is you can't beat it. I'm so loyal. I even have the same security guys, you know. And all these people are coming to Chicago with me. They're going to travel with me. We're good. So you're going to have that same wow factor experience, even though we're in a different city. But the gist of it is going to be our core group. Like my front door people, Britt Schindler and Chrissy. I actually sold them a dog probably back in 2000, maybe like 2007. I sold them a dog, and they've been riding with me ever since. And they volunteer for each show. I mean, we're talking 8, 10, 12-hour days.
Wow. That's love right there.
Yeah, for a puppy, I sold them 10, 11 years ago. And they become some of like my key players. I wouldn't even want to do a show without Britt and Chrissy. Britt, he's like my silent security guy, and Chrissy, she works the front door with my wife. So I've been blessed, man. It's not just me. Like, I'm the guy. Like, I have the vision. I'm in the forefront, but I got a lot of moving pieces and parts that brings this show together. That brings that Wow Factor experience together to make it the show that it is. But most of all, not just the people who support me, but also the bully community. Because without the support of the bully community, the show wouldn't be what it is. Because let me tell you, Zeb, it was hard in the beginning to get brothers to come out to Dayton, Ohio. They'd be like, "Where?"
That's what I'm glad you went back to that, because I was going to ask you, how was the first Wow Factor show, knowing that you came from the ABKC side, throwing shows, and probably saw a lot of American Bullies. Now you have to get the trust of the exotic community and the ABR and the Wow Factor. What was the first Wow Factor show like under the ABR?
It was great. It was a huge success, man. At that time, we were talking like 2016. It was a huge success. Maybe 900, maybe 800, 900 people. But I already had such a following, loyal followers from the ABKC. That's my dog, Marvel Clip. So I had such a loyal following that quite a few of those ABKC people crossed over with me, like DeMarcus Longmire, and he was like, man, he was campaigning my show as hard as me. Hey, what's up? It's tough. Yeah, he was campaigning my show as hard as me. So, getting those people to cross over with me was huge as far as the success of that first show. And then, like I said, so I wasn't going in there blind, because I did have a history of hosting shows, and I really pushed, I really marketed. I try to like really stand out with my marketing. I'll do a couple different flyers. I'm pushing it, and I network. I think that's one of my blessings, God-given talents, is my ability to network and build rapport with people. I meet people, I build rapport, and they're like, you know what? I'm gonna come support this guy. I'm gonna come out, check him out, and support. He's trying to do something positive, and so that just went a long way. I think me hosting shows is God-given, man. I think it's allowed me to use my God-given talents to bring it to the people, and I think that's what makes it work. And to answer your question, that first show was pretty successful, and each show has built upon each other. Even during the pandemic, when I had to postpone the show from March to October, even during like the heart of the pandemic, we still did probably around 1,100 people at the show.
Oh wow, that's
so
real.
So yeah, that's huge. So that the support I get, man, I'm extremely grateful, man. It's not a day that goes by that I'm like, man, I'm just so thankful for the people and their support. And this last show we had, March 6th, we had close to 2,000 people at the show, and that's huge, for Ohio, for the Midwest, because we're not Dayton, Ohio is not a big draw. It's not a tourist attraction like a South Beach, Florida, or Dallas, Texas, or Houston, Texas. So to be able to do something like that here in Dayton, it's truly about the dogs. It's truly about the dogs. So that said, that's part of the reason why, I wanted to go to Chicago, and I wanted to branch out to other cities here in the Midwest just to grow the Wow Factor footprint and really bring the community out and give people, some destination, like a destination type place here in the Midwest. And I've gotten very positive support with the Wow Factor announcement for Chicago. And, people say, hey, man, I've never been to Chicago, always wanted to go. So it's an opportunity for them, to bring their families out, go to a great dog show, and see a beautiful city, because Chicago is amazing.
It certainly is, man. While we're yours, I gotta give a few shout outs to people tuned in, man. Shout out Mike Wilson tuned in. Brian Barber up there from the Bully Garage, he tuned in. My cousin John the Barber, Victoria Porter, Mike Wilson. Man, thank everyone for tuning in. All right, now the next one for you, James. What's some of the dogs that you've seen that were Wow Factor dogs for you over the years?
For me, like the dog that really caught my eye in the beginning was a dog named Bullmaster. You remember him?
I remember Bullmaster.
Bullmaster to me was the epitome of the American Bully, and he had wide fronts. He was very short at that time, and for me, he was everything, and that's kind of been like ingrained in my brain as far as what I want. I want a dog with big blocky head, with a nice chest spread and great shoulders. And that was Bullmaster. So that's what I look for in dogs to this day. Some dogs that really have caught my eye here recently, that I've liked. I'm a big fan of Ife's dog. I love Riff Raff. I've got a Riff Raff daughter.
I would like to see that two-time Riff Raff in person. Because
Me
I've
too.
seen Riff Raff in person. I like how that new two-time Riff Raff look.
Yeah, I do too. Little Riffy.
Yeah, little Riff.
Yeah,
and he got that little A-Muff dog now. What is it? Diddy Kong?
Yeah.
The new pickup he got, Diddy Kong, yeah.
Diddy. Okay, I don't think I've seen him. I have to check out Ife's page.
That's a beautiful dog. I think it's off that Vino blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I do like him. I was a fan of Microwave that Devo owned. Rest in peace, Microwave. Microwave was a blue boy, looked real good. Debo is in New York. He owned that dog. He was really nice. Hobbit, Mr. Hobbit still looks good. I just actually seen him a couple weeks ago. Was a fan of Hobbit. Or I am a fan of Hobbit and his blood. He's produced a lot of nice dogs. Here recently, my buddy Corey Brown has a dog named Bandit. He's a tri. If you guys haven't seen Bandit, this boy is amazing. I saw him a year ago at Donald Murphy's show. Just hands down was probably my favorite dog at that show. And his name is Bandit. I like Showtime that Billy Jones owns. He's right outside of Chicago in Indiana. If you haven't seen Showtime, he's a dog that you definitely want to take a look at. Looks amazing. And I was really impressed and put hands on Nipsey Hussle that Chris owns, Chris Wilson. Yeah, so I like him a whole lot. And then, of course, Stan Lee, that James Branham owns. The boy, he's probably 4 or 5 years old now, but he's still.
That boy is a bad boy, because he was actually my dog of the day at the Quan show out there in Ohio. Yeah, a bad boy. I like that boy.
Yeah, and he's still relevant. I like Stan Lee a lot. He's still relevant. A great dog. And then rest in peace, Poppy Yankee. His dog Freddy Krueger is a nice little male too. Tiny, nice little micro, compact, good looking dog. Just the dog almost smiles at you. He's a pretty dog, if that makes sense. Like you look at Freddy Krueger's face, he's a pretty dog, pretty color, well put together. So I like Freddy Krueger a lot too.
With the move with the Wow Factor show to Chicago, and you mentioning, possibly going to other places.
Yeah.
What's next for the Wow Factor after Chicago? Are we looking at the Wow Factor California, Texas, down south, East Coast?
Well, as much as I would like to go to California or go to Texas or go to Florida, I'm very respectful of the show hosts that are already there in those geographic areas. So I won't step on their toes, and I wouldn't do that as far as going to their cities with current show hosts. And ABR is really good about that. We kind of have territories of where we throw shows, and it keeps that family. Because like I said, with being part of the ABR, we're a good family unit, and so it keeps any type of divisiveness down, and and or disrespect, because I'll be honest, I'd be upset if somebody from down south came up and like, hey, we're gonna throw a show in Dayton, Ohio, or throw a show in Ohio. I'll be like, dang, dog, but so I won't do that. But what I will do is try to spread the footprint here in the Midwest and perhaps the East Coast. So we're going to still have the Dayton, Ohio show. That's home base. So we're going to have that in March 19th. We'll be back here in Dayton, Ohio. And then we're going to do, like I said, we're doing a second show this year in December. And I did that for two reasons. Venue availability, but also it was far enough out not to conflict with any other show hosts and their shows, because the last thing I want to do is split the community apart. I really hate to have two big shows on the same weekend and make people have to choose, because I don't want to hurt the other man, the next man's pockets. I don't want to hinder or hurt their show at all. So I like with the Wow Factor, typically we're always either the second or third week in March. So our show, the Wow Factor, is always in the spring. So going forward, my plan is to do two shows a year, potentially. So I'm thinking of maybe doing we'll have our spring show in March, and then probably do a late October or November show. I know Donald Murphy throws a show in October, so I want to stay away from his date. So maybe do a show after that, either after October or maybe in September sometime. So I'll just have to work with Angela and Albert and just see what makes sense and what works best, not to conflict with other ABR show hosts or even other hosts here in the Midwest that throw quite a bit of shows. But my plan is I'm gonna do like a little tour, man. So I'm gonna announce this here first. I'm gonna give you the formula, exclusive. So this is the plan. So we have Wow Factor this past March 6th in Dayton, Ohio. We'll have Wow Factor in Chicago December 11th. So we'll be back in Ohio in March 19th, Wow Factor. And then sometime in the fall, we're going to be in Detroit, Michigan. Wow Factor Detroit. So y'all heard it here first.
Man, you're going to have to quarantine out this mug, man. You're going to bring your whole family.
So you heard it here first. We're going to do a Wow Factor Detroit. And I'd love to do something in Philadelphia as well. So that's probably something I'll work with Buck with, because that's his home city. Maybe Philly, New Jersey. So I've reached out to Buck and got his blessings to throw something on the East Coast. And Jose, who owns Hobbit, he also gave me his blessing if I wanted to host something in New Jersey. So I'm real keen on respect. So like if I'm considering hosting something in somebody's city, that's a prominent breeder, I will call and get their blessing. Like even before like my Chicago show, I reached out to Eddie Madrano, I reached out to Pina, I reached out to El Primo, and just Ken, I just wanted to have their blessing, and say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm thinking about. It will make it that much better if I can get your blessing, and let's move forward.
What I like about that situation, man, it's like a perfect storm, because they got some of the baddest bullies out there in the Midwest. Then you got the exotics. You combine all that in the house, man. You gonna have me coming out there in December, man.
Hey, that's what I'd like. I think right now, God willing, as long as the weather, holds up. I hate that it has to be in December, but their Decembers have been fairly mild as far as snow. I'm not gonna lie to you and say it's gonna be hot, because it's probably not gonna be hot. So, wear your sweaters, wear your winter coat. But I think right now it has the makings of being the biggest Wow Factor I've ever had. The show's not until December, and we've sold more than half of the booths. And then also, I announced this week that I'm introducing two new breeds to the Wow Factor, the English Bull Terrier and the Bull Mastiff. So that's going to bring even more so to our bully community. So I'm trying to.
Why those two particular breeds? Because I was wondering about that.
Well,
before you answer, it's a two-parter. Those two particular breeds. Will there be other breeds that might possibly involve And yeah, let's answer with those right now.
Yeah, and well, even once I announced that, like I started getting hit up by people outside our bully community, like, well, will you do doggy de Bordeaux? Will you do this breed? Will you do that breed? And I have some people that I kind of I bounce things off of, bounce ideas off of. And I was working with a guy, Jason Inc., who's an AKC. He's crossed over from AKC, and now he's within the bully community, and he's showing dogs, he's handling dogs, and even starting to purchase some bullies and have some Frenchies. And and he mentioned it like, your show, the Wow Factor, is all about the bully breeds and about that wow factor, but you don't have the king of the bully breeds, and that's the bull mastiff. And I was like, you're right. That's a great idea, and they have a big following. It's a hard nut to crack. So any show host that starts, having bull mastiffs in their show, I'm doing all the groundwork for you to make it easy. But my whole thing is, like you said, man, we have to evolve. We have to change. We have to adapt. Just like you're doing a live today, you're evolving because you want to be able to give your platform what they're accustomed to. So in order for this show to grow here in the Midwest and for us to grow as a community, we have to evolve. So I sat and I thought, what better way to evolve is to introduce more bully breeds. I think the bull terrier just kind of goes hand in hand with like a pit bull or a bully. So I thought that was a great introduction to introduce the bull terrier at our Chicago show. Um, and I thought that as far as client wise, the person that may
I'm
see
actually glad. I'm actually glad you're bringing that bull terrier because I think ABKC dabbled at it at one show one time. I don't know if
Mhm.
it was the Nationals, but it was some very very nice looking bull terriers, man. So I was surprised it never really came back again. And I'm glad to hear that you're doing it this time around.
Thank you. And I think that it crossovers a lot. Like you, myself, I like how the bull terrier looks. And I think once that bull terrier community sees our dogs, they're gonna like our dogs as well. So ultimately, I'd like to expand our buying power. So we're getting bull terrier breeders starting to purchase American bullies or purchase exotics or purchase some of the English bulldogs that come to our show or some of our Frenchies, and then vice versa. Well, we're starting to maybe dabble into maybe getting some bull terriers and some tri bull terriers and trying our hand at that. And then I feel like once the bull mastiff people, they see maybe some of our XLs, they see some of our oldies, some of our American Bulldogs that show up to the Wow Factor, and it'll open different trade lines. That's what it's all about. I have the people in mind as far as how can we open different trade lines? How can we expand this market? And ultimately, how can everyone be more successful and everyone make a little bit more money? Who doesn't want more money? So that's what goes into play when I plan my show, when I plan offering these different breeds.
Let me ask you, how have things changed as far as the bully community for you since you first started to what you see now?
Oh my gosh. I guess like right now, especially after this last show, my show when it was smaller was so intimate. I could pretty much knew the name of everybody that attended or definitely recognized their face. The show has grown so much that I feel like sometimes I feel like it's a runaway train. And I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm a very controlling person. So a person that's like wants to be in control of everything and every aspect, having to rely on other people to get things done has been huge for me. I've been forced to let go of some of my control because the show is so big at this point. So I can't control every aspect. I got my hands on everything and I know what's going on, but I've had to like really trust. Like case in point, um, everything down to the menu, to the drinks, to everything you experience at the Wow Factor is by design. I've thought of it. I've implemented it. This past show, I had my cousin working with me. She's a bartender, and she said, my family calls me Jamie. She said, Jamie, I got a great idea. She was like, hear me out, because she knows I'm controlling too. So she's like, hear me out. And I got this drink I want to make for the Wow Factor, and it's strawberry. It's a strawberry Hennessy drink. I said strawberry Hennessy, and I said, you know what? I gotta open up. I gotta be open to new things. And I said, cuz, go ahead, rock with it. And man, The drink was delicious, and it is sold like it's
But
sold like
it was a big hit. It was a big
it
hit.
was a huge hit, man. You would think you would have thought we was giving money away. I mean, that drink was a huge hit. We went through probably 4 cases of Hennessy with that strawberry Hennessy drink. It tasted good. People who didn't even like Hennessy like that strawberry Hennessy because it just changes the whole drink. And so it was a really good move. And I'm glad that I trusted her and I allowed her to be creative and bring something, bring something to the show to, that she's passionate about her craft and let her do her thing, So I thought that went well. Another thing that I allowed at the show were $1,000 stack offs. Typically in the past, I'm conservative, so I wouldn't have allowed that probably years past. But so I'm letting go a little control as long as people are managing themselves. It's not getting too big of.
You mean those $101,000 stack offs?
Yeah, we probably had like 9 or 10 of them.
Now, where did that originate at the Wild Factor? Because I actually saw that down at the Rumble with the Jungle. Because McBain and my man that owned Golden Child, they did the $1,000 stack. I was like, God damn, they just stack it up and then somebody choose and somebody could just walk away with the 1,000. That blew my mind right there, man. That blew.
Yeah, I don't want to speak out of turn and say that we were the first to do it, but we're probably one of the first, if not the first. And it managed itself well. We did the $1,000 stack off. Nobody got in their feelings. Nobody got angry. But again, I addressed the crowd. I said, hey, I'm going to allow this, but I don't want anybody getting upset if they lose their $1,000. I don't want any drama or backlash coming from it. You handle yourselves respectfully. You shake hands, win or lose, and then we can make it happen. Like I said, we had probably like around 9 or 10 of those $1,000 stack offs. We had a gentleman, William Shooter, who sold a puppy at the show for $20,000 that day, March 6th, at the show. But probably the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway, the thing I liked the most at this past Wow Factor was the young girl who won $1,100 for the dance competition. And that's something that Buck orchestrated. He did the Junebug challenge.
Hold up. How much?
$1,100 we raised for that little girl. And what makes the story even better is she had just lost her mom maybe a year or 2 years ago to breast cancer. And so it was she was there with her father, who's a single father, and to be able to bless them with $1,100. And it just started like, Buck donated $100. And I said, hey, I got on a microphone. I will match your $100. I said, is anyone else willing to match the $100 for the winner? And boom, people just kept pulling out hundreds. We raised $1,100 for this little girl for a dance competition. And it couldn't have went to a better recipient with her just losing her mom. So I thought that, to me, that touched me the most. I was almost in tears. Like I had to fight back to tears. That was amazing. That's our community can come together and do that.
That's one of the things a lot of people don't understand about the bully community. When things like that, how people really rally and come together. Actually, I saw that at the Rumble with the Jungle too. So I was like, it caught me off guard. I was like, damn, people actually just coming out of their pockets raising money for the junior handlers. And like you said, it was, I don't know if it was 1,000, but it was up there. It was up
there.
Damn, man. People was really coming out their pockets for it, man. So just to see the camaraderie and all backgrounds, all nationalities, all under one roof coming together, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a whole lot of different backgrounds in the bully world, man.
I know, especially with Chicago. Chicago is such a diverse city. It has a large Mexican influence, and that's part of the reason why I want to accommodate that, and I'm gonna add some Mexican cuisine to the Chicago show. Just tip my hat to them being in their city, and I want to do that along with like some Chicago style hot dogs and different things like that, so people get a real feel for the city. But they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and I've seen a lot of things that have originated at the Wow Factor, done at other shows, and it's really honest. At the end of the day, it makes me proud, and if it could bring other show hosts the same type of success that has brought me, I'm okay with it, and it happens, people see a good idea and they're like, and they implement it. And I'm guilty of it too. I've seen good ideas and then I'll try to put my own twist on it and implement it into my show. And that's what it's all about.
With the great relationship that you have with the ABR, Have you been approached by other registries, man, to try to throw something under their umbrella? I know you turned them down, but have that ever come about for you?
Oh yeah, man. But you know, at this point, I'm bleeding ABR. They know I'm so ingrained. You know, at this point in my career, I think I'm kind of unapproachable at this point. But yeah, in the past, I have. But the ABR said, you know, they've been so kind to me and so good to me. Um, there's no way I could, you know, turn my back to them. I mean, not everyone knows this, but you know, my job of 9 years was eliminated due to COVID-19. So the wow factor and the ABR, you know, it kept me afloat, man. It kept me in the game. You know, without that, without having the show in the bully community, I could have lost everything. I don't know where I would be today, you know, without the community. So, you know, so I could never turn away from that.
Speaking of that, James, you know what you were talking about with that last year with the pandemic situation. Did you get a chance to talk to other show hosts about that who were probably in situations where a lot of them, like, that was their living, you know, really throwing shows every couple of months, man, and not have that opportunity to do that, to try to come up with different things to survive that year, man. How did you do it to maintain?
Yeah, and actually, we have actually a host group chat, and there's a lot of hosts that are really hurting, especially out in California, where they were really stringent about their lockdown, and it impacted them severely. And you know, me on a personal level, I had never relied. Like I said, I've worked in corporate America for like 20 years, so I never relied on my dogs or my show as a means of income. It was kind of more like a supplement to my income. But everything changed with this pandemic and losing my job, and I was like, you know, it was by God's grace, a lot of prayers, a lot of luck, that I was able to get that show off in October. It was just a huge blessing. Had I not, you know, we probably would be having a very different conversation today had that show not have taken place in October. So I was extremely grateful.
Now I got to ask you about you hit different shows outside of the Wow Factor.
I do.
What's one of the best shows that you've been a part of outside of your own show?
Outside of my own show, a show that I think they do a really good job, and it's on a very big scale. Because don't you know? Keep in mind, as successful as these shows are, like Biggie Small said, more money, more problems. It's extremely stressful. You know, it's when a show host throws a show, we have so much responsibility. We have so much liability. Honestly, man, we're one wrong turn from losing everything. You know, if someone comes out and gets really hurt or something happens, I mean, it could really break you. Or you go through a pandemic and you can't have a show, and but you got all this money tied up in buildings and trophies and different things. It could break you. But some shows that I really like the South Beach show. As far as I think that show is this at the same, if not bigger caliber than the Wow Factor. As far as they don't pull any punches, they don't spare any expense. Everything is just like fine quality, and that's the whole thing with my show. I want everything to be fine quality. I don't want to throw a low budget show. When you come to the Wow Factor, you're going to be on a fully carpeted ring. You're going to always have nice ribbons. You're going to always have nice hardware if you participate in a fun show. I want people to really you know, get something worth making that trip, and really feel like, oh man, this was worth it. I never want anybody to leave the Wild Factor to be like, man, it wasn't worth all the money in the hotel and the car rental. I want people to feel when they come like, man, I had a great time. It was like the best house party or party you've been to. You got great food. You've had some great drinks. The place, the venue was nice. The carpeted ring was nice. Your trophies, your ribbons were nice. People treated you nice. But I like the South Beach show, like I said, that Dean and Beasy throw. A show outside of the ABR registry that I like, my buddy Andre Pogue, who I introduced to the bully game and introduced to hosting shows, him and his wife, Rebecca Pogue, they throw a great show called the Ohio Bully Showcase, which is very similar to my show, because it's kind of like, I gave them the blueprint, but then they added their own twist to it, and put their own finesse on it. And like, I do giveaways, and I've instilled that into the Pogues as far as doing giveaways and making people feel welcome. And they took that and they ran with it. They got a halftime show that rivals anybody. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, I got to ask you, James. One of the things that's part of your show are the stud credit giveaways. How did that come about that you were able to get some of the big name studs in the world, man, to give a stud credit away?
Well, I'm glad you asked. In the beginning, a lot of begging. I was I was like, James Brown, like, please, please, please. So in the beginning, it was a lot of talks and conversation. But honestly, it's just having that conversation and just asking. And then as the brand got bigger, they see the power in the brand, and people want to be a part of something that's successful. So, now I'm to the point where they're volunteering their studs. Like, man, you want to use my stud, James? You want to put my stud on the band? You want to use them for the fun show? You want to do a giveaway? So I've been blessed in that aspect. But
have you ever had to turn somebody away because they stud wasn't like that, but you didn't want to hurt their feelings? But
yeah,
I'm good.
I try not to. So even if their stud may not be,
Wow, like
wow factor or top tier stud, I will maybe have that conversation with them, or maybe direct them to a different category or something. I try to always find a silver lining, or find something nice to say, or to do something for them, So I try not to, hurt people's feelings, but keep in mind, when you run a business, though, you can't please everybody. You can't, I try to give great customer service, but one thing I've embraced, like, you can't make everybody happy. But for the most part, I think the Wow Factor's done a pretty good job with keeping the majority of people happy. I say 99.8%.
Yeah. Now, I got to ask you, man, about your boy Marvel, man. What's the blood behind your boy Marvel, man, and how enjoyable is it to take him out to different shows?
Well, actually, I'm getting ready to go to a show here next weekend, and Perry, Georgia. So Marvel is heavy. He's Chamuco on top, and he's inbred Kratos on the bottom. So he's heavy Miyagi blood, and he's a boy that I purchased actually from Ife. He's a nice little stud, man. You got some people out there afraid to use white dogs, but actually Marvel throws a lot of color. Probably one of his baddest daughters that he's thrown was Devil's Pie, and that was a black and tan bitch that looked like no other. Rest in peace to Devil's Pie, though. But she was a really bad bitch that Andre Pogue owned. That was a breeding we did with his girl Medusa, which was off of Michael Richardson's bloodline, and it clicked great. Like that whole litter just turned out fire. But yeah, Marvel's a good dog. I need to get him out there more to campaign him. He's a well put together dog. He's got the grumpy face. He's got a mug that's very unique. I'm surprised that he's not, utilized more, but that's just me, maybe stepping it up a little bit more, letting people see him in person and putting hands on him. And that's something that I plan to do, this summer. So, or this show season. So like I said, I will be taking Marvel to the Georgia show in Perry, Georgia on the 22nd.
Yeah, shout out to the show host for that, man. He tried to get me down there. I couldn't make it, man. I mean, I'm in the height of boxing season right now, man. So
I feel you.
Yeah, it's so funny that you just said that about a schedule in the bully world as far as show dates and being consistent with that. That's the same thing you find in the boxing world? Like you said, Canelo got the date for the Cinco de Mayo in September. So it's like it's good to be consistent, that people know when your show is going to pop up. So it's kind of cool. So for the Chicago one, and December is kind of something to introduce the wow factor to the area.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that was just like kind of we're going to set it off like this. It's going to be in December, but by no means was December my date of choice.
Okay.
But so basically, the recipe will be, I want to do an early spring. Like I said, my show Wow Factor, people, it's ingrained. They know it's going to be like either the second. It's going to be like within the first three weeks of March. So either first, second, or third week of March in the spring. And then the second Wow Factor show will be in the fall. So, like I said, going forward, like this show here will be in December, but going forward, we're going to probably shoot to try to have that Detroit show either September or 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 October, maybe before Halloween. I need to talk to Donald Murphy to see how he feels about it because I don't want to step on his toes and conflict with his War of the Exotic show that he has. So yeah, but yeah, man, like with this May 22nd show, I'm getting old. I don't like driving long distances no more. I'll be 43 this year, man. So I'm like, I don't want to drive more than 6 hours, but I'm gonna do it. I told you I'm coming.
Hey, I
So it's a
feel you on
9 hour
that, man.
drive for me, man.
I don't like driving too much no more. After 3 hours, I don't think I can do it no more. I can't do
I
these
know.
12-hour trips no more, man. I'll be 50 next year. I can't do it, man. I can't do it.
Man, you look great. It's hard, and then I'll get to the point I can't halfway see when it get dark. I gotta I gotta drive when it's daylight.
Yeah,
I be
driving
getting
in the
night
dark is
driving.
definitely not for me, man. I can't do that dark driving.
Oh gosh, I be getting sleepy. And my wife, she ain't no good on the road trip. She sleep time we leave the driveway. So
I got to
but I'm
ask
gonna
you,
do it.
man, for the Chicago edition of the Wow Factor, is there any special surprises that people uh, should be looking out for?
Yes, I don't know if I should give too many more exclusives out, but be looking for another banner that's going to be coming out soon. I always try to do something different for every show that I do. I'm always trying to improve upon myself every day, just personally and professionally. I try to be a better James Cosby each and every day. And to answer your question, yes, we're going to have some very special things planned for this Wow Factor Chicago edition. Some categories that have never ever been done before. I've got this very special category coming, and people are going to be like, "How in the hell did he think of that? Like what?" So I'm really excited about it, and that's something that me
Yeah, that's
and
good.
the family
Don't
talked
even,
about.
you right.
I'm
Don't
not
even
gonna
tell
say it.
people. Don't even
Yeah,
tell
I'm
people.
not gonna say it. But when I drop the flyer, you'll be like, that's what he was talking about. So I'm gonna introduce a brand new category for the bully community, and it's gonna be
Hold up.
it's gonna be dope.
Does that scare you a little bit though if you announce it now that somebody between now and then will try to implement it in their show?
Yeah, I'm not gonna drop it just yet. I want to drop it with a visual. I want to drop it with a flyer. So yeah, so we'll save that one. I gave you the inside edition on the Detroit show. I'll save my new category for
Yeah,
my for my.
say that, man. You gonna have everybody trying to steal your ideas.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey
and
man,
I hope to get some really nice stud giveaways. I have a few lined up. And like with my stud giveaways, I try to give something that's going to really improve people's yards, that'll really be Wow Factor dogs that are going to be game changers for people. So that's what I try to do. People may have a really nice bitch, but might not have any more money to invest in a really nice stud. So I try to pair those really nice studs with those nice bitches to really change people's lives. Because you get one hot litter or one hot stud in your yard, that could change your whole dynamic. And that's what the Wow Factor is all about. I'm trying to change the whole dynamic for people's yards when I do these stud credit giveaways. So I'll be really putting really grinding and trying to find some really top tier studs for our fun show giveaways for the stud credits.
with the fun show giveaway stud credits, do they have to do the owners have to get approval of the bitch before they do it? I always wondered
Typically,
about that.
Typically, no. Usually, like with the relationships that I form with these stud owners, they trust me. And I don't know if you're aware, but something I do different with my fun show, it's a lot of pressure for one person to judge. And then it can be very subjective when you have one person judging the fun show. With my fun shows, I have a panel of a minimum 4 people, sometimes 5. So we do a panel of 4 people, kind of like American's Idol, where they have to all 4 agree on what dog in that ring is the best.
Hell, man, I love the idea. Because, man, I was talking about that for like at the Nationals. Because, you got one person who might have their preference on a certain look. Why not have 3 judges? They come together to pick
Yeah,
the best of show winner. Because it's hard, man, when you got that one person. I know they trying to look at the standards and everything else. But at the same time, we human, they got a preference.
Yeah,
So I
you
like
always
the
have.
three judge. I like the three judge idea. Four judge.
Yeah, you always, people always have their own preferences. Like if I'm judging a fun show, and judging fun shows are hard. I know June Williams gets a lot of flack. It's tough. But you know, at the end of the day, like when I've judged fun shows myself, I do have my preference because I've told you at the beginning of this video what I like. I like big heads, I like wide chests, I like shoulder spreads. So if your dog has that, chances are he's gonna win, you know. But I try to stick to the category. So if the category is best Miyagi, I'm gonna try to find a dog that most resembles Miyagi. Or if the category is more compact, that's a little more self-explanatory. I'm gonna go with the most compact dog in the category. But and that's something I've been implemented into the wow factor for years. I've had a 4-panel judge for my fun show for years. And it takes the pressure off of one person. And then also, another thing, you have that intimidation factor too. Like if you got one person judging, that's a lot of that could be a lot of peer pressure. Like if I don't pick this certain dog, will that hurt me personally? Is that going to hurt my personal career? Is it going to hurt my yard? Is it going to hurt
That's
my
a
movement?
ding, ding, ding. That's a great point there, because then you go to them certain areas where they got a big following of people, and you don't pick their dog, and then they
Yeah,
all upset with you and
yeah.
talking
So
shit
when you
about.
yeah, so when you have a panel, that takes that anxiety away. So you can be a top tier breeder and say, you know what, it's not just on you, Zeb. It's going to be you and 4 other people. So now you can say, well, it wasn't just me; it was the panel. You know, and the people I think are more receptive of that. Like, well, you got 4 people saw it the same way. You know, so it's worked very well for the wow factor. Like I said, doing the panel of judges.
Now I got to ask you about this, big dog, because I follow your stuff, man. Health is wealth. Talk about that and the things that you were going through at the time, and how do you feel now?
Man, I feel pretty good. You know, my oldest son, you know, he kind of inspired. Well, he inspired me a lot. You know, he lost a bunch of weight and looking like something out of a Spartacus movie or 300 right now. So I was like, you know what? I said, you know what? I'm gonna work and you know lean out and get right. I had a little scare. I thought I was having a heart attack, but by God's grace, you know, we ran a bunch of tests and I was fine. My heart was fine. My arteries were fine. But the bad thing was the test that they ran on me. The dye, I had a severe reaction to it. I went to anaphylactic shock over the contrast dye that they use. So that almost took a brother out, man. It impacted my kidneys quite a bit. It was shutting my kidneys down, and ended up having to stay in the hospital a lot longer than what I would have liked to. And I was really messed up over that procedure for probably about 4 or 5 days before I got back right. And it just lets you know things can go real wrong real quick, you know. And I was healthy, but the test, you know, it gave me a major setback. But now I feel good, uh, new lease on life, so to speak. Right now, my wife and I we're doing the keto diet, and so we're basically like a modified keto. We're keeping our carbs low, and we're trying to get South Beach ready so we can look good in our swimsuits for for
But
Dean and Beezy show.
I always like to bring this up, man, because you know, as black men, man, we don't go to the doctor enough, man. Get the health checkups once a year. Like I tell people, man, start early with that colonoscopy, man. I started at 45. I did it. Got it coming up again. My 5 year coming up at 50. So doing that, man, it's just important, man. Because I went through a heart situation, had an irregular heartbeat. So it was like different options. Am I going to get a pacemaker, a stent? These were like options that they were throwing at me. I was like, oh shit, man, I don't know if I'm ready for a stent. Running a stent
Right.
from the femoral in my leg all the way up to my heart. Oh man,
Oh no.
so I went with the
Yeah.
third option, man. I did the restart of the heart. So basically, they
No.
put me on to stop the heart and restart it to get it back in rhythm again. Because my heart rate was like I can walk 10 feet and man, I'll be like at 140 beats a minute, man. It was just ridiculous. So
That
I
is
had to
ridiculous.
change diet, went vegan for vegetarian for a year, lost
Yeah.
about 60. So yeah, man, I agree with you on that, man. You gotta. You want to be around. You want to be around for the kids and grandkids, man.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's the key thing is being around here to see my kids grow up, um, and just being here for my family. I'm telling you, being a family man is it'll make you right because it just makes you because you got responsibilities and I want to be here for them. And even the doctors, once they got in and checked my heart, they checked my arteries and everything. I had no blockages, and they see my size and everything. They were even shocked, like, "Damn, we can't even believe you that healthy." So that let me know, like, okay, I want to keep adding on this. I don't want to get unhealthy, so I'm going to keep building on this. So my goal, my long-term goal, is I want to be down to around 200 pounds by the time I'm 50. So over the next 8 years, 7, 8 years, you're going to see a decline as far as like my muscle mass and the heavy weights that I lift. So I'm going to start probably idling down probably around 45-ish, 46-ish. I'll start idling back a little bit because I want to get back down under maybe be like a crisp 200, 205. But by this time, I'm going to be probably a nice crisp 250.
You said 250.
Yeah, I'll be a nice crisp 250. Yeah.
Man, James, man, I truly appreciate your time today, man, coming on Bully Talk with Zed Pitts. Like I said, I had to get out my comfort zone. I hate going live, but yeah, hey, man, this is the day and times we living in right now, man. People want to interact and do it that way. So I truly appreciate you coming on today, big dog. And I'm doing everything my best, like I did for June show. Went out to that area for the first time. I got to come out to Chicago for a show for the first time.
Hey, love to have you, man. You come out, everything's on me. So just all you gotta do is show up and get there.
Bet I'll do that.
And I'll take care of you.
I
You come on
appreciate it.
in. I'll feed you. I'll give you some drinks. You said you vegetarian now still?
No. I did it for that year. I'm back on meat again. I need to do it again though, for real, because I just had a recent checkup. They said,
Okay.
hey, because they don't want to wait. Like my doctor don't want to wait till you get to that 50% blockage. So when
Right.
it's like at that 20% level, she like, hey, look, you need to work on some things. So I was like, okay, I get you, doc, because I ain't trying to be on any medications. That was my whole thing.
Yeah.
When you on the man, I was feeling sick as a dog on that heart medications, man. I was
I
throwing
bet.
it up, and then to be on the blood thinners, and my whole body was just messed up. Man, I said I got to do it naturally, man. So
That's a lot.
that's what I did, and finally got off the medications. I feel a lot better.
Yeah, I take one pill a day. I do have high blood pressure, so I take one little small high blood pressure pill a day, and that's it. So I'm fortunate in that way. But back to what we were saying. Yeah, you come out, man. I'll feed you. I'll take care of you. If you want to have a drink or something, to sip on that strawberry Henny. I've been told will make your blood flow a little bit better.
I hear you. I'm with you, man. So yeah, I definitely start making that happen now. Then definitely, big dog.
Yep, just get there, man. I'll take care of everything else.
Got your love to my OGs, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Zeb. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me on. And Bully community, thanks again for your support year after year, show after show. I hope to see you all December 11th, the Wow Factor Chicago edition. This is the Wow Factor, baby.
The Wow Factor! There you have it. Mr. Wow Factor himself, James Cosby. I truly appreciate your time today on Bully Talk with Zed Pitts, man.
All right. Salute,
All right.
brother. Thank you.
Salute,
All
brother.
right, man.
Take care.
All right. You too.
All right. There you have it. Mr. Wow Factor himself, James Cosby. Tune in. Tune in tomorrow night. Me and my dog Ashton on Facebook Live, man. We're going to talk about that world famous Booby Miles. Booby Miles' last breeding, the golden child. Thank everyone for tuning in. Please support the brand. Bully Talk is in. Pitts, let everyone know about the brand. And I'm back. Been in this game for 20 years, man. Please show love, man. I appreciate it, man. On the ropes, I'm out. Oh, I say on the ropes. I forgot. That's the boxing media side. Bully Talk is in. Pitts.